Hey guys, welcome to the CO visit once again. Colin here, and a pretty warm day today, so I've got my trusty coffee, but it's actually soda. So I'm kind of breaking my diet here a little bit. But I was just outside with my wife, and we have a cactus, pretty big cactus, and it's a, a lady of the night cactus. So it has the flower that opens up, but it wasn't opening up. So I started doing some research because it was a cactus that a friend gave to us that left the country. He was a teacher that was here, a marriage of Mexicans, and then they left for Peru for their next assignment, and they left us this big cactus. Problem is the flower isn't opening up at night. So I started researching about that, and I found out that the uh, the pot that it's planted in is too small, so it's kind of stressed. So we bought another one that's about 3 times as big, and we went got some dirt outside from a good area. There's some good dirt, good black dirt, and we transplanted it over into the other one, and we'll see how it does there now. So hopefully, I can't plant it just in the normal ground because during the rainy season, which is just starting up now, there's way too much water pooled on the ground. Cactuses can get water, but it's got to be able to drain. And so I just left it, got it a bigger uh, pot, and we're good to go. So anyway, on with our topic. Well, what shenanigans are the Watchtower up to now? Well, once again, the what is it now, 10 or 11 uh, uninfallible, or what is it, infallible? The 10 or 11 infallible and uninspired gentlemen, and also who are not professionals of any type except for maybe in the real estate in the legal area, are giving advice once again for mental health. They gave an article about depression. Now they gave another one, which is on their website right now, about anxiety, particularly. And it's interesting how if you read the article, it's just simply a very typical Watchtower article when it's on a subject that they really don't know what they're talking about, and they shouldn't be giving advice anyway. So what do you get? Well, you get a very watered down, very, very, very simplified, shortened version of basically the perspective of someone who does not have depression or anxiety and is not a professional about it, what you should do about it. So what do they tell you? Well, basically 3 things. They say, number one, in so many words, they quote some scriptures from Matthew, and they just say, don't worry, right? Stop your worrying. And that's the first thing they do. Okay? Don't worry about the next day. The next day will have its own worry and all of that. Well, if it were that easy, we would do it, don't you think? Okay? That's the worst advice. When someone suffers from a mental disorder such as generalized anxiety disorder, telling them don't worry doesn't fix anything. Okay? So then, number 2, the next one is to basically talk to somebody. Okay? They say talk to someone. The iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens the face of another man. Go talk to somebody else. And most of us that have had or have any type of mental disorders, mental problems, you know exactly what that can lead to. That can lead to a whole lot more problems and discouragement, because if you're going to talk to someone who's never gone through it, they're going to give you that same type of advice that Watchtower is giving you. Well, what are you worrying for? Well, stop worrying about stuff. Stop thinking about stuff. You're overthinking it. You're doing this. You're doing that. Okay? And that's not going to make you feel any better. Okay? Those are easy remedies for people who are not ill. That's like telling someone with cancer, well, just don't have cancer. Don't have it. Don't worry about it. But you wouldn't do that, would you? you would tell that person to go get professional help. So why don't we do that with mental health? See, that's where the problem is, because there's so many misconceptions and there's so much ignorance surrounding it. And the bottom line is people just don't want to have to deal with it. If a person, doesn't have mental health problems, they just don't want to deal with it. Okay? I don't understand it. I don't have it. I don't understand why you do. And if you do ask me advice, my whole thing is going to be like that answer I got that one time. When is this going to stop? And then the third thing they said, well, and number two, I should mention as well. And what if you talk to another person that has the same or has a mental health problem as well? Well, there's comprehension. You can understand each other, yes. But, it's really hard to get help from another person that has the same thing as you do. Okay? Unless that person is significantly better than you are and at another place in their life and are getting treatment and they can guide you. But you know what happens a lot of time? One person that is, just sunk in the middle of the quagmire of mental health problems talks to another person that's like that, and guess what ends up happening? They both end up going off the deep end, or they both end up finding kind of a partnership together, and they start drinking together. They do stuff like that. That's what I would do a lot. So far from helping each other, you're both really just sharing your complaints and what you're feeling and your hardships. And, let's go get a beer. Let's go get a pint. That'll fix it. Then 5 pints later, where are you at? And then number 3 is, of course, the old trusty, throw your burden on Jehovah. Throw it on Jehovah. And if you're not strong enough to do that, roll your works on him, right? You heard all of those, just like when I was growing up. Throw your burden on Jehovah. And if you can't do that, if you're not strong enough to throw them, then roll them. So yeah, and then they talk about praying and things like that. Okay, and I'm not going to take away from certainly what I think is the utility of prayer. However, what prayer does is get action going. Pray and then act. So basically, all they're saying is just stop worrying, talk to somebody in the congregation, and talk to Jehovah about it. Well, that's kind of a one-way conversation. When you pray about something, you see, the one thing that article doesn't say whatsoever at any place, in accordance with what their Shepherd the Flock of God manual says, they do not say at all, anywhere, go look for professional help from a therapist, psychologist, and or psychiatrist, which is exactly what you should do if you have mental health problems. You see, they can give you all that other advice. That's fine. But the very first thing they should tell you is, you know what, brothers, in their article, we're not medical experts. If you feel that you have these symptoms, and they could even add them. I mean, they've got Google. They could go on Google and say, well, generalized anxiety and depression disorder can have these symptoms, these symptoms, these symptoms. If you think that you're going through this, if you identify with any of these, then number 1, before anything else, pray about it, and then please, brother or sister, go find a licensed professional therapist or psychologist or psychiatrist and get yourself help. And in the meantime, talk to somebody and doing everything else. But that most important part, they leave out. Of course, because there's always that possibility that those evil monkeys are going to lead you out of the truth because they might just feed you some apostate lies or some philosophy of men. Well, I'm telling you from the perspective of a person with depression and with anxiety that before anything else, you need to look for professional help. Do not follow the advice of the governing body. Get yourself help by professional people that know what they're doing and leave everything else on a second plane. So that's basically what I wanted to talk about today. So just want to give you guys a couple of reminders. Again, you can go over to the publications tab and a couple of things. On Sunday, we're going to have a live stream talking about some pretty big shakeups that are happening around the world at the branch offices. Many branch overseers are being asked to step down. This is in the governing body update number 3 that is currently on jw.org. Now, of course, there's the official government report about why that is. That seems very logical, but there's much more behind that. There's layers and layers of reasoning of why they're asking those gentlemen to step down. And they are not like small marginal third world countries. They are major regions. So a panel of us, a forum of us ex-Jehovah's Witnesses are going to get together and we will be discussing what's going on right now in the organization and why. So I hope you can join us on Sunday. That'll be at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central, and 6 p.m. Eastern. And other than that, also on the publication tab, and you've seen in the shorts as well, the GoFundMe to help me out with medical expenses is there. You can click on that link. It will take you to Facebook if you so choose to do so. Remember that is completely voluntary. Okay, I have a couple of procedures coming up in June. I'm already on the list for it, for an endoscopy with a biopsy that I have to get done, and I have recurring expenses as well for my appointments with my psychiatrist and all of that. So I got a couple of different things going on. So basically, the endoscopy and biopsy are to find out what this lump that I have, that I already had a CT scan to see it, and then they suggested that, well, the only 100% way of confirming or ruling out if it's cancerous or not is doing an endoscopy and getting a biopsy of it. So that's what we're doing right now, and that's what the GoFundMe is for. Okay. So as I mentioned before, any amount is appreciated. You will be blessed for it, and you'll be blessing me as well and my family. So thank you very much for watching this video, and be seeing you in the next ones. Be blessed.